Oh my god, hi everybody. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see everyone. Holy smokes. Okay, I can see your names in chat, but you can't see me because I am trying to do the thing again. Look at me. I am but a wee fairy in the corner of the stream. It's so fun. I'm so incognito. Incognito. Hi, guys. Hi, Mel. Hi, Dream. Hi, Jordan. Hello, Mike Tron. Hello, Lol. Hi, friends. Hi, Rhea. Hi, Kirby. Hi, Lab. Hi, is it Steffler? Oh, hi. Hello, friends. How is everybody doing? Yes, I am but a wee little bee fairy. Guys, it's so good to see you. Thanks, everyone, for showing up, joining the party. Okay, let's catch up here. Last stream, it was spring. It is now winter. Excuse me. Hello? Kirby? 42 months? Dude, we're old as shit!
I thought I did this last stream, but 42 months. Nicole B. Howell taps, Nicole B. Howell taps, Nicole B. Howell taps.
Nicole B. Howell taps, Nicole B. Howell taps. Ah! Thanks, dude! We are old! Thank you for 42 months! I appreciate you so much. What the heck, guys? Can I get all the love and hype in chat for the one, the only Social Curb moderator extraordinaire? Thanks, homie. I appreciate you. Quill, you are so not first. You are like, I don't know, you're so far from first, but you know what? You're here and I appreciate it. I don't know what number you are, but you're great. Hi, Quill. I hope you're doing well. Oh, hi, Dream. So, okay, guys, I gave Dream VIP because Dream was actually the first one in chat, but there was Steph commented and said that they were first, which was hilarious because right after that, Flamin' Hot Beatos redeemed the first, so like all three of you had like first in some capacity. But anyways, I appreciate you all. You're all first in my heart. Okay, so what's happening? It is Monday the 8th. We're all first. Exactly. You're all first in my heart, and that's what counts. Oh boy. So it's winter. How exciting is that? Let me give you the rundown because I kind of went hard off of. Okay, first off, Shar, how dare you? Second of all, how dare you? Third of all, hi, how you doing, magical girl? So I went kind of hard on the game off of stream. I've got points to spend. Yeah, and no place to spend them except for punishing the streamer. Guys, I need to add more things, and I want to add sound effects. Oh well, what? Hi, Earth Prime, good to see ya. Hello. I want to add more channel point redemptions. But I'm not sure what. I was kind of thinking sound effects, and if you guys like sound effects, I know you guys have told me that before. I just don't know which ones. So if you have any ideas, please just put them in Discord, and I'll make it happen. Okay, so Monday, the 8th of winter, year 1. I'm so close to finishing the community center. I just need to finish the vault. So I need to make some cash money. But like I'm well onto that. Should be just fine. I am not really stressed about that. By the way, my chickens are Frodo, Sam, and Bilbo, and then we have Mary, Pippin, and Rosie as my ducks. Hold up. Are the icons showing in your screen for chat random, or do we get to pick our villager? Oh my gosh, speaking of redeeming points, girl, you can choose whatever villager you want. It's a channel point redemption. Oh, Festival of Ice! Oh, Barnacles, I haven't done this yet. This is new, right? Yeah, so, okay, so when you do the channel point redemption, you just comment the name of the villager that you want, and it'll redeem it. And it'll be next to your name from here on out. Oh, Mrs. Norris, hi, welcome in. Nice to meet you. All right. Isn't that cute, Shar? I love it. I am so glad that we added that to the stream. Okay, I will go talk to my cows on the way back after this festival. I haven't done this yet. I think this is a 1.6 thing. Excuse me? Oh man, I want to make a pun so bad, Char. I want to make a pun so bad. It's right there. Are you, can I please, will you revoke that? I have two things I want to say. This is really important. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Look at what Leah mermaid. Wait. Oh, look at this one. It's perfection. All right. That's all I gotta say. Anyways, you have a pizza festival. Huh, wife dragged me out to the cold for this. Yeah, George. She's having a good time. Did I ever tell you how George and I first met? He actually pelted me with a snowball in this very festival. And you're being grumpy, Gills, about this? He was a gentleman back then and came over to see if I was okay. I love Evelyn. I want her to be my bestie. Okay? She is so sweet. I just want to give her all of the chocolate cakes because they make her happy. Am I going to enter the ice fishing competition? Okay, first off, I've never entered this. I've been playing Stardew forever, but I'm always like, fishing? Ew, why would I do that? We stocked up this frozen lake and stocked it full of fish. Meringue! Oh, cute and Julian. I am not surprised, Char. I love that so much for you. Alright. Could you guys hear Howl in the background? He got real rowdy a second ago. He was yowling. Oh my goodness. It's just because Jaina, our pupper, is like in Howl's space, which is so silly. Like, Jaina is so unfazed and does not care about Howl. And Howl's just like, stop breathing my air, and has a lot of stuff to say about that. Oh my god, hi Reneru, good to see you, friend! Bell-bottom salsa. Look at over this bot. Still as flirty as ever, let me tell you. Oh boy. Contestants, your goal is to catch as many fish as you can in 2 minutes using the provided fishing rods. You must catch your fish here from these holes in the ice. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna do my best. Also, I'm like really glad that I'm not on camera today because I make the dumbest faces when I'm concentrating fishing. Oh my gosh, these two. Wait, it's like not even in the water. It's like kind of in the water. Does this count? Am I gonna be able to fish something from that? Oh no. I'm just gonna... That's bad. Oh god, sorry. What the heck? Why don't you face the right way? Why? Oh my god. No, stop it. Why is it doing that? Why? Ah! I swear to god. Okay, please, just let me catch a fish. That's all I want. Just one fish. I'm about to start this day over, you guys. How embarrassing. Oh god, stay, please, let me catch you. Oh yeah, I got one. Alright, no, face the pool. Oh, Anime Hero, it's great to see you. How's your day going? Merry Tuesday to you too, Judd. Hello, hello. I have a feeling we may not win. Listen. Don't say that. Listen, we're doing great. We're off to a mediocre start. Okay, got 2. The fishing guy gets 5. 5? 5 in this economy? No, Willie. Come on, pal. All right, come on. This is number 3. Lucky fish number 3. We would have been doing great. You know, had it not... What? What? It looked like I just threw the rod in the water. Okay, listen. Listen, y'all. Oh no! Oh no, my game just crashed. Oh no. That's so awkward. I guess we have to start the day over. Oh no! What a weird coincidence. That's so crazy. Darn it. Well, you know, I guess it just crashed. That's so crazy. It's fine. We'll we'll just look on the bright side, We just gonna start a lovely new day. Wait, this is cheating. You would accuse me of such a thing in this economy? Hello? I tell you, it better been worth it though. Oh, hi Jean, it's good to see you. Hello. Yes, you say. Yes, you say. Also, hi Spectre, I can see you. It's good to see you, friend. Oh yeah, got that parsnip soup. Okay, yeah, I would never. That's so crazy that you would even think that. Okay, we'll go back and hang out with my aminals later. By the way, look at them. Look at them. We've got Gandalf the Grey Cat. We've got Frodo, Rosie, and Samwise, my chickens. We've got Boromir, Faramir, my cows. Merry and Pippin, and wee little Bilbo. I love them. No! It's being set up. Fine. Fine. We will go talk to the cows now. I don't think you get anything good for being first. Yeah, but you get the pride of knowing that you took first place. And really, that's what I need. I mean, need, but, want. It's not cheating. It's just creatively resetting. What? Resetting? What? Me? Never. We have to take those chickens to Isengard. Guard. I got 6 fish so I can brag. Okay, pop off, lol. Excuse me? Okay, but do you get an achievement for this at least? Is there anything like that? Because that would be lovely. Let's make some cheese real quick, Nice. Also, I bet there's some sort of recipe. Okay, I've played this game. I don't know. Enough that I should know the recipes better, but I don't. I'm assuming there's something with crab, right? So I'm gonna hang on to that. Just some prizes. Okay, well, that's fine. I'll get an achievement in my heart. Oh, excellent. Hello, everybody. Good morning, wee little ducks. The chickens? The chickens? Yes. And the ducks. Oh gosh, I have to feed them. No, don't eat the egg. Don't eat the eggs. Oh. I was hungry. Okay, I needed that. Just having an omelet, starting your day off with a nice balanced breakfast. It's very important, everybody. There we go. Lovely. What's eggs is precious? What's eggs is, eh? Oh, here we go! Ice work, everyone. It's time. I'm so excited for this. Oh my god, look at this! Look at what Leah mermaid, everyone! Haha, haha, look at this one! It's perfection! Haha, ice one, you guys, right? Man, these jokes are so cool. Wow, that's a look. Snow, that's a, wow, I've never heard these jokes before. I know, I'm an original. That's why you guys keep coming back to the stream, right? Just all original content. Oh boy. Everyone's so creative. Okay, I'm ready. What I learned in boating school is... I'm gonna do so good. I'm ready for this. Okay. Oh boy. Snow creative. Ice work. Did Willie already catch a fish? Will he catch another? Come on, buddy. Mama needs a new pair of shoes. Escalators, escalators, escalators. Eels. I'd like to make a request. No, I'm sorry. You can't do that. You'd have to redeem that again. You know, I'm sorry. I predict 3. 3? No way. Lol, you got 6. I'm about to get 7. Challenge accepted. Come on, buddy. Oh my gosh. Stay on the line. Stay, you little... Oh, brother. Oh, barnacles. Oh, son of a... What the French toast? Get on my line! Wow, okay, I was... Never mind, I was so cocky. Dang it. Karma. Karma is a fish. Come on! Give me another shot! Just give me 3. Let me prove I'm wrong. That's right. That's the spirit. Nice. If it wasn't on a 4-minute cooldown. Ha. Ha ha. Are you kidding me? Yeah, I caught 3. I'm about to catch 4. Please, please, for the love of God and all that is holy. Yes! No! Give me an easy one. I mean, not that I can't handle a challenging fish. Ha, take that. Naysayer's gonna naysay. I can't believe it. I almost had 5. I almost! The smell. Now, for the winner of this year's ice fishing competition. Oh, barnacles. Willie with 5 big fresh fish. Aw, man. Listen, that's his whole career. He shouldn't be allowed to compete. You know, that's a professional competing against some amateurs. Did it register in time? I hope so. I didn't win the competition, but it was still fun. Time to head home. That's the spirit. That's the spirit. Alright. Did I pet everybody? Mary didn't get pet? What? Poor little lad. Oh, goodness. Oh, but he's sleeping. I can't even pet him. Oh. Poor Meriadoc Brandy Buck. Meriadoc Brandy Duck. Perfect. I think some of them bring their own fish and throw it in. Oh, yeah, for sure. That was rigged. Guys, that was rigged. I would have had it. Easily. That would have been mine. Alright. Now we sleep. So, okay, I gotta earn some big cash money because I need to finish the vault and I need I need to buy purple cabbage. And hopefully the purple cabbage will hurry up and show this weekend. That would be lovely. Okay, cool. It's nobody's birthday. Let's see. Spirits are happy. Okay, let's go to the mine. I think I'm on floor 90 or 95 in the mine. So I'm almost to the bottom of it. I'll get to the bottom of this. Oh gosh. Lots of mine progress. I've been trying. Moo, it's good to see you again. Welcome back. Oh my gosh, I'm so close. I finished most of the bundles. And then look at this. I have an apple tree growing. See, that's the thing. I think that I'm so close to finishing the community center in year 1, but I've had no luck finding apples. And it took a while to get the greenhouse growing. So I built it at the end of fall. So I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to do it in time. But I will try. Okay, let's see. Nice, more oak resin. What's this? Do we get the red cabbage today? Oh my gosh, please, everyone vote yes. Give me that sweet belief. Believe in me, guys. Whoa, why am I trying to fish? No, I'm just trying to get some milk. You don't have to place fruit trees in the center. You can place them on the tile area next to the plot for the greenhouse. What? How do they take root? Don't they have to have tiles all the way around it? Wait, that's awesome. That's some space saving. Nicole, in Baldur's Gate 3, you can place markers in the map and label them so you can check things out later. In a forest against a cliff, I found a rocky crevice next to the ground with a swarm of bees in it, but I didn't want to activate a cutscene without Brian there to see it, so I marked it for later. Today I come back and look at the map and remember when I labeled it. No, not the bee hole! Ah, that's so good. So cursed. I'm so proud. Oh, I love that. Man, I really need to start playing Baldur's Gate at some point. It sounds like so much fun. Sounds so chaotic too. Right? You can fit one of every tree that way and it doesn't take over farming space. Shoot, what am I doing? I'm slacking. Oh, I meant to put the resin there. Yeah. There's that. Let's keep some space. Baldur's Gate is great. Okay, so for those of you who have been playing Baldur's Gate, who's waifu? Who's your favorite? My partner is so close to finishing it. Oh, I love that. So you're in Act 4? Is that right? All of my Baldur's Gate knowledge is secondhand. It's just from being a child of the internet and seeing... Oh, Gale is waifu! Hold on. Gale. Is Gale the one with the cat? I'm completely addicted and love a bunch of the voice cast. What delightful people. They all are so talented. The Astarian voice actor, he is so funny. I've seen a bunch of his clips and stuff on TikTok and he just cracks me up. I started a playthrough with some girlfriends and it was really fun, but they had all played it before, so they're all zooming past me. And I was like, wait, wait, stop. I wanna hear what they have to say. So I've been given homework that before I do a friend play run, I have to play it first to get the base game down. BG3 is really fun, but it takes up so much storage. Oh yeah, it's a beefy game, for sure. For sure. I got it like when it came out. Oh my god. Burger. Stop. Don't stop. That's so beautiful. No, okay, because when my cows have a baby, it'll happen and it will oh, that's so good. No, I think I could just rename it. I think I could just rename Boromir to Boromir. I'm doing it. I'm gonna do that. Burger, you're a genius. Earn an icon. A scholar. Thank you. That's so good. You're so right. I can't believe I missed that. Oh, nice. Crystal. How's your day going, by the way? Howdy, hey. Okay. Okay, goal. Current goal is to get to level 100 in the mine. Oh my gosh. Actually, current goal is not die, because that would have been really embarrassing. If I ever happen to die while playing this game, we're just gonna turn the other way. Like it never happened, okay? Okay? Pro gamer. I would never, but if I did. Here we go. Oh my god, why is my health so low? No. In this economy? Do I have anything to eat? Oh my god, what a noob. We're not gonna talk about that. Well, hopefully... Oh my god. Well, I might actually perish here. No, I will not. I shan't! Ha ha ha, take that. Take that! If I make it through alive, then I'm a pro gamer. If I happen to perish, then I'm just a girl, okay? I'm just doing my best. There's a mod for BG3 where you can have fairy wings. Oh, sold. I am just gonna start playing BG3 now. Baldur's Gate forever. That's it. Like, you give me fairy wings, I'm done. It's all over. Okay, I'm just gonna leave my sword out and we're gonna run around and maybe there's already emerald in this economy. Oh, there we go. No! Okay. Okay, this is stressful. Oh, don't you kill me. Not today. Not tomorrow. Oh, yeah, baby. Got it. She still got it. You didn't see anything. You didn't see anything? Nothing to see. Nothing to see. We're just taking a nap. I just decided that the mines would be a good place to find a nap. To take a nap, you know? That's all. That's all. Shh. You didn't see anything. What did I lose? Oh god, what did I lose? Okay, that's fine. But not my money! We will rebuild. Nat! Oh, it's so good to see you. Hello, my friend. Hello. Okay, listen, we were so close. We were almost to floor 100. Perhaps another day. You know what? You know what? We still got some fire quartz, and that's pretty sick. I'll take that. I'll take that. I can't believe you guys don't think we're gonna get the right cabbage today. Let me make sure I talk to everybody. Good, good, good. Not Bilbo. What? Bilbo. Come on, little baby. Where are you at? Lavender. Oh my gosh. Hi, friend. Did I say hi to you yet? I said hi in my head, but not out loud, I think. It's great to see you. How are you doing? Okay, but I thought I said hi. Did I? Oh, I pet. Oh, I just... Why was I looking at the hearts as if I, like, greeted it? A fool. Okay, we're good. I am dying, though. Goodness. Nothing a little sleep can't fix. Get rid of that. Just gonna take a wee nap. Add to my stacks. Perfect. And because we have no health and no energy, we're taking a nap. A lovely longer than 8 hours nap. A 15-hour nap. That still counts. Skill issue on my part, not hearing your thoughts. Yeah, Lavender, I thought you were a mind reader. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to assume that. That was very rude of me to assume such a thing. Skill issue on my part too, though. Let's be real. Ooh, what do we got going on? Is it a mildly perturbed? Yeah, okay, pal. I think I just watched a goblin take a tinkle, call himself a big boy, then go be sick over the edge of a cliff. Should I sneak up and shove him off? Gene! Gene! You absolute criminal. Do it. What? Oh, Sebastian. Oh, he likes Frozen Tears, yeah? Do I have one saved? Oh, I don't have a Frozen Tear. I guess I could go into the mine. What else does Sebastian like? Do I have any Sebastian simps in chat who would know? He's like one person that I really haven't tried to get to know. Oh, sashimi. He likes sashimi a lot. I can make that. Let's try that. Nice. Wait, I could just make a bunch of sashimi and I could take that into the mine? Okay, we might have to do that. Dang, living the life. Like that much sushi. Oh my gosh, thank you, Curb. I appreciate you. Shadow Python, my goodness, thank you for the biddies. It's good to see ya. How's your day going, homie? Is that a peach? Oh my gosh, just give me apples, cave, please. Guys, I need 3 apples. That's the one thing that I'm the most stressed about right now. Like, I really want the cabbage. But the apples. Like, I have an apple tree, but I don't think we're gonna get any apples until, like, towards the end of the season. And, it's kind of pushing it. Alright, it's happening. The name change is happening. I'm so excited for this. Okay, that's Faramir. Oh, too good. Okay, but consider this actually. Okay, this could actually, instead of this being Boromir, this could be our girl Eowyn, right? Yeah. We got Eowyn and Faramir just living their best cute life. And then when I upgrade my barn, then I can have Boromir because I'll have pigs. That, I think, is the strat. I think that's what's happening here. You're brilliant for the Boromir suggestion. That's so funny. A falcon cry! Oh boy. me. I hope that was good. I hope that was adequate. I do not have 100 pieces of hardwood yet, but I'm working towards it. Actually, that's something that we could do today, is just go check out the secret forest and go get some more. Oh, it requires a scythe. That's right. Oh, perfect. And I can go drop this off to Marnie. I had a quest to give her some of the amaranth. I forgot about this game. It's so good, right? It's so good. May I save some melons and save those and then go pick up the rest. Nice. There we go. Also, those are fairy roses that I'm growing, and then I have the honey next to it, so I'm hoping that I get the fancy honey. Okay, so we need to go find Sebastian today. I need to drop off something to Marnie, and we should go get some more hardwood. That's my plan. Oh wait, I don't have a peach yet. I'm gonna save that because I could actually turn that into a seed later, and that would be so lovely. No, not yet. I haven't made it to Skull Cavern yet. To get to Skull Cavern, do you have to get to the bottom floor of the mine? I haven't done it yet. I've never done Skull Cavern before. You do? Okay. I'm close. Like another 20 floors to go. Cold Pigeon, that's a great idea. Yeah, at the bottom of the mine, then the desert. Okay. Soon. Hopefully we'll have another good luck day, and then I'll be able to make my way the rest of the way to the mine. Oh, sweet. There we go. Cow's Delight. Catch a squid. Giant stump. That's right. Ugh. Clint just going for our girl Emily. Leave her alone. She's baby. Flying serpents have a chance of dropping red cabbage seeds. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm gonna have to buff myself up before I go into the Skull Cavern. Like, I'm gonna need some armor, a better stat weapon. My best chance of getting the cabbage, I feel like, this year is probably just getting it from the traveling cart. I did turn it on, so it should show up there eventually. The item that I'm most nervous about not getting, though, are the apples. I do have a apple tree, but it's not going to grow towards the end of the month, and I don't know if that's enough time to get all 3 apples, so I'm really hoping that my fruit cave drops some. But I have been checking that fruit cave, and I have not seen any Let's see. Yeah, I just need red cabbage, 3 apples, and then my vault. Oh, goodness. Could do a couple of them. We could do the 10,000 one. Because it's not like I'm really going to be buying much. I really just need to be paying it off. Alright, you know what? Ooh, chocolate cake! Oh my gosh, I'm going to go give one to Evelyn. Cute. Quality for... Oh, I should have done that earlier. Okay. I need to save about 30,000 gold to finish the rest of it. In 18 days. You know, I think that's actually probably manageable. Chocolate cake. I wish I had that. No, seriously. Looks so good, huh? Nice and warm in here. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. We're in flannel. Okay, I'm not good enough friends with him. It's a Wednesday. I don't know Sebastian's schedule. Sebastian in winter. Today's the 10th. Rainy day, Thursday, Friday. Regular schedule. Computer. Leaves his computer and goes to the kitchen at 3 o'clock. Leaves the kitchen, goes back to his room at 3:30. Then he leaves at 6:30. Okay, what time is it now? 12:40. Okay, at 3 o'clock is when he's going to go get a snack. Yeah, I don't think we're good enough friends that I could go into his room. Yeah. I'm pretty good friends with almost everybody else. It's really just like Sebastian and Elliot and the wizard that I don't know very well. Everybody else I have decent hearts with, I think. Linus, Marty, Shane, Haley, Abigail, Demetrius, Patty, Pam. Yeah, they're all coming along. Most everybody's 3. Some are 2, but then like Clint. And then Sebastian. Like I haven't given him I accidentally gave him a gift that he was very unenthused about. My bad. My bad. But hopefully this makes up for it. God, I love me some sashimi too. Like that sounds delicious. Somebody gave me some sashimi. Okay, 140. I'm just gonna... It's only for that little window that he's awake and up and in the kitchen. From 3:30 to 4:10. So we need to make sure that we don't miss that. Let's just go for a little walk. Gosh, these bushes look like they actually have berries and I want them. Let's go for a little fishing. Kill a little time. Did you immediately pick up the lamp off of your table? I can't tell you how many times I've done that. Come on, buddy. Mama needs a new pair of shoes. All right. Okay. Nice. A perch. Nice. Oh, Shadow. I love that you're playing along too. That's great. Oh my god. Thanks guys for believing in me and my red cabbage. Appreciate it. Okay. Homie is leaving his bedroom for a snack. Perfect. He seems lost in thought. Here, be lost in sushi. Nice. Do you love me now? What's our hearts at? Oh, snap! He went up to 3 hearts just like that? Perfect. game is fun, but all the controls are weird. Yeah, I mostly play... Well, that's not true. I played a lot on the Switch. Every time I go visit my parents, my mom also plays, and she plays on the Switch, so we get all cozy and we play. So I have a pretty large file on that one, but I'm so used to playing it on PC now that I think if I were to go Switch and play it on the Switch, I would be a little confused too. Okay, Mary, Pippin, and what? I haven't pet them yet? Any pet anybody? Hello? Give all the birds some love. No. Birds. Birds. Oh, no, I'm trying to pick up the egg. There we go. Perfect. Okay, beautiful. Now, let's see. Oh, I can put the milk and make some cheese. That should give us some more money. Okay, does anybody know? Is it worth it to make mayonnaise? Do you get significantly more money for your eggs if you do it that way? Is it worth it? Because, like, I haven't taken the time to do that. Because you don't need the mayonnaise maker. So I haven't. But if you make a lot more money, I'll gladly throw my eggs in there. Okay, you guys already got your milk, right? I think so. Yeah. And let's go check on the fruit cave. Especially if you have the artisan profession. Okay. Mayo is a cash cow and you can give it to a lot of people. Ooh. Okay. I should do it. How much does it cost to make a mayo machine? Wood, stone, earth crystal, and a copper bar. I think I only have one earth crystal. I need to go find more of them. Or maybe I don't have any earth crystals? Did somebody want it for a quest? You can also drink it now. I feel like that should be an achievement once you drink the mayo. At what point do you choose? I can't remember if I've already chosen artisan profession or not. Also, I don't think I have any earth crystals. How embarrassing. Level 10 farming. Oh god, how close am I? Level 8! Oh, we're almost there! If we chose the right path for it. Wait, how do I know which path? Oh god! What did I do? Mayo is always worth more than whatever type of egg. I need to go get more earth crystals then. Please be a lucky day. Neutral. Okay, well, not the worst. Also, let's see. I think... Should you select crops or animal buff for level 5? I honestly don't remember. Can you see? Oh, I chose crops. Uh-oh. Is that the right path? Did I choose correctly? Then you're good. Whew! Okay, sweet. I need an earth crystal. Oh, more cranberry seeds. Oh, let's do that. Let's do that. Whoopsie daisy. Perfect. Also, oh. Oh. Fish ponds. Fish ponds? When do you get a fish pond? Good passive money maker. Oh, is that just something I can get from Robin? If there's a right path, is there a left path? Honestly, Dream, you're asking the questions I've been wondering my whole life. This is important to know. Oh? Star fruit! Okay. Okay, but can I put the star fruit in a seed maker and can I make multiple seeds? Or do you just make... How many seeds did you get from the seed maker? Because I know you're supposed to make star fruit wine. Is that right? And that's how you get the cash money? I don't think I have the seed maker yet, though. Recycling machine, cake, furnace, mayonnaise machine, charcoal kiln, tapper. Dang. Well, I'll hang on to the star fruit then. Think that's probably a good call to do. Oh, I could have used the fertilizer. I'm a fool. That's fine. Everything's fine. This is fine. Oh, the chickens are so sleepy. The winter months. Excuse me, sleepy chickens. I'm trying to give you foods. Beautiful, beautiful. Amnesiatic in the house? Hello, friend. How you doing? Welcome back. I hope that you are having a splendid Tuesday. We are just on that Stardew grind, trying to finish up the community center. Yeah, it's coming along. We've got cows. This is Eowyn and Faramir. Look at them. And what else we got going on? We are trying to make enough money to pay that last bit on the community center. I think I need something like 30,000. So we're almost there. Almost there. I think 35,000 total is what I need, actually. Either way, that and I need 3 apples and a red cabbage. Sounds like a recipe for some sort of really strange salad, but here we are. Please give me an apple. Oh, fruit bats. Yes! That's 1 of 3. That's 1 of 3, baby! Alright. Alright, it's all coming together. Whew. I'm still down with the sickness. Excuse me? How disturbing. If you know what I mean. Okay, apple, stay. Oh my, oh, you got a perfect score in your paper? I am not surprised. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you, Mega Moose. Dude, that's awesome. Look at you go. Is that the last thing that you need to do for your degree? Are you almost free? Guys, can I get love and hype in chat for our pal Megan, aka Mega Moose? Dude, that's awesome. I'm so proud of you. You've been working at that forever. Holy guacamole. I'm so proud of you. They grow up so fast. Okay. I need to make more cash money. What did it say? Spirits are neutral today? Wait, did I bring the chocolate cake with me? No, I'm a fool. I wanted to bring the cake with me so I could go give it to our girl Evelyn. She's baby. She's so sweet. Little grandma. Oh, I guess something I could do is I could go do the foraging over at the beach. Sometimes that can make some good cash. I could do some fishing as well. We just love fishing. Alright. You know, I think that is what I'm gonna do. Fishing! Oh, what does this say? What do we got going on? 80 pieces of hardwood? Oh my gosh. 2 dozen eggs in 11 days. Do you get to keep the eggs if you do that? Because, like, that's a good chunk of my profit right now in the winter. And I don't know if I'm willing to part with that many eggs. Is it just me or is the game zoomed in? Is the game zoomed in? The game is zoomed in. It does look like that on the screen, huh? Here, let me see what I can do. Do. Transform. It says it's fit to screen. You know, I think it is pretty... I don't think it is zoomed in, actually. Oddly enough. Oh yeah, I should pause. Good point, good point. Also, I think I should... Here, I'm going to pause that. And then... I feel like my webcam, I should probably move it down a little bit so you guys can... Whoop, yep. Not that one. This one. So you guys can, like, see the time and such. Wouldn't that be nice? Is that better? Do you guys like that? Sammy, it's great to see you. Hello, my friend. Good afternoon. Oh, some sea jelly. You don't say. Let's try that again. Come on, buddy. Make me some money. Good evening. Which always sounds so ominous. Oh, distinguished, truly. You're still chops. What? Oh, are you talking about your Animal Crossing character? Wait, you do get quite a bit of money for completing? Completing what? Wait, you get money for completing the vaults? Is that what you're saying, Mel? Oh, Anka, good choice. Oh, that's nice, lol. Shoot, I'll have to check and see what level I currently am. I hope I'm close to that. That would be nice. Oh, thanks, Career. I appreciate you. Oh, the egg quest. Oh. For Gus. Is it worth it, though? Well, I get 3 chicken eggs a day. So it's going to take me like 8 days to complete the quest. Oh, thanks, Sammy. I was thinking about changing her hair. I defaulted on this one. I thought it was so cute, but I have so many different like hair mods. There's so much to customize it with. It's just hard to choose. They're all so cute. People use a training rod until 5. Ooh, okay. I switched to a different rod because I was like, I think I had the bamboo rod, which is like the default one. And then I switched to this one, the fiberglass rod, recently. Only because I was like, I need something to make this easier, hopefully. Oh, come on, pal. Nice. A tuna? You know, you can get tuna piano, but you can't tuna fish. Okay, but I feel like I'm doing pretty good as far as fish goes. Oh, I missed the puffer fish. That's what that one was. But I did get it in the shop, so. So these only show up, right, if you ship them? Is that right? Thank you, Shadow. Thank you. Appreciate it. Gives you the biggest bar until you get level 5. Oh. Hi, Ray Ray. It's so good to see you. How you doing, friend? Oh my goodness. Do I have a mod in chat here? Can we get a big old shout out for our girl Ray Ray? Here, I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna do it, and then if I get another mod who's gonna do the thing, then we have 2 shout outs. That's what you deserve. But there isn't a lot of work right now. Oh, nice. You're just hanging out. Oh my god, who did that? Who did that? Appreciate it. I love you too. Oh, it's so good to see you. I'm glad I can keep you company while you're working today. Also, I'm glad to hear that, you know, you're having a little relaxing day. That's always nice. Oh, barnacles. Not me reading chat and then missing the exclamation mark. I can multitask. This is fine. You can only get easy fish with the training rod. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, so that's a good way to level up. Oh, I didn't even think about that. I just saw you can only catch easy fish, and I was like, I don't want that. I want all the fish. I'll take the challenge. There we go. Got it. Man, the tuna's not so bad, but there are some fish that are just... Oh my goodness. I wanted to find a squid. I think you can catch squids in the ocean after 6 p.m. So maybe we can find one tonight, because I think I do have a quest for it. I think I need it, honestly. Yeah. Man, bunch of busy days at work can get really taxing. Oh, come on, little guy. I was struggling with one of the fish needed for the community center. Oh yeah, gosh, I was too. I think it was the catfish. I think that one I had a hard time with. Like, it was very erratic, the way that the fish is on the line. It just kept bouncing, and it took me forever. I think I probably encountered that fish like 5 times before I finally caught it. I think it was sturgeon. Oh, dude, sturgeon was so hard. Yeah, that's a lake fish, huh? Yeah, I think I might have actually just purchased that one at the traveling cart. I can't remember. I guess if I look at the fish that I have, I'll be able to see if I've caught it or not. Because I know I have it for the community center already. Oh, I want that. Should I get it? Oh, yeah, nice. It's so pretty with the snow out like this. I love that. I just the trapper thing to catch it. Smart. Bioshock Dragon, how are you doing, friend? So good to see you. Oh, I got some bait. Okay, how do I put the bait on my fishing rod? Because it says that I can use it, right? Like, there's a spot for it, or is that a hook? I'm confused. Do I hold it and then I put it on the rod like this? No. Do I right-click it? Oh, I do. Oh, I figured it out. I always try to avoid fishing like the plague. So this is nice. Finally getting past my fear of fish. Okay. Come on. Fishy, fishy, fishy. I just want a squid. Oh, I get albacore. I just learned about that last week. Oh, nice. Hopefully it saves us some time. Come on, little fishy. Oh, I missed it. I feel like you can't just go off of the sound of it. That you need to actually see the exclamation point to be able to click it. Oh, there it goes. Dang. Oh, that's exciting, Shadow. Wow, I'm missing all of them. What am I doing? Okay, I gotta focus. Whoa. Okay. Oh, Shadow, you're gonna have so much fun with it. Like, I haven't even put that much time into it. Just that one stream that we had the other day, and I had so much fun. Is my inventory full? Oh, no, it's stacked. Oh, 3 of them. Sheesh. Okay, this is great. I haven't even used up all my energy yet. This is wonderful. Aw, Ray, you with the little cozy emo. Stop. I hope that's you right now. I hope you're extra cozy at work right now. That is me to a T right now. I am bundled up under a little blanket. It's so soft too. I'm loving streaming no cam right now, guys. This is honestly, it is so freeing. Also, I'm not gonna lie, like I said this earlier, but I make some funny faces when I'm like really focused, especially when I'm fishing. Like I was doing that earlier when I was fishing, just off stream playing the game, and I was like, oh man, I would get, y'all would roast me for some of the silly faces I was making. Oh, more baits. Oh, I have space for it. Good. I can put that on the line then. Oh, what? What? Oh, I already had bait. Oh. Do I have to use it up then? Can I not put more on it? Oh, I can. Okay, cool. Oh, whoops. Wrong way. Can we just roast anyways? Well, yeah, of course. And like, I know you're going to, so... No, but like, I know that whenever I like really focus in and I do like, I make a face. And when I'm very serious about learning something, I always make a face. Like, I was a cheerleader in high school, and anytime I'd be learning a new dance, I know I had the very silly look on my face. Until I got to the point where I'm like, it's second nature, and then I could like smile and stuff. But before that, though, very serious, very grumpy. Dang, what was that? Hello? Anime love! Oh my gosh, it's great to see you. How are you doing, friend? It's been forever. I am. I'm working from home. Okay, good. Oh, shoot. Oh my gosh, love. Hi. Welcome back. And it's so good to see you again. I'm really glad to be streaming like more consistently. Like, guys, I know we joke about it, Nicole, in her quarterly or, you know, annual streams. But like last week I streamed 3 times in a week, and then this week we're streaming twice. So what? And we had a movie night. Like, I'm feeling so good. This is so nice. Oh gosh, it's getting kind of late. It's 2020 again. Yeah, it kind of feels like that, huh? Who is she? Wait a second here. Y'all, I just tapped my headphones and it started playing lo-fi music again. She was a fairy. That's all I needed was to have the fairy aspect and come back. Oh, what is this? Anime love? Excuse me? You angel? We're taking the hobbits to Isengard. Anime love, thank you so much for 5 months. I appreciate you so much. Welcome back to the beehive. I hope you're having a beautiful evening. I'm just so happy you found a solution for when you have trouble streaming. Oh, thanks, love. I appreciate that so much. It's so nice. Like, I used to just, like, I would stress myself out so much to the point where I'm like, I can't stream. I feel under the weather, and then it would make me feel worse that I would be missing streams and letting you guys down. But, you know, having this, like, PNG tuber aspect is so nice, and just, like, you know, opens up the opportunity to be more consistent, and it feels really good. Nicole, you are just as bright as beige. What does that mean, ma'am? Excuse me? Hello? Whoa, this is so many fish. This is great. Whoa, look at me getting a purple one, the iridium. I'll take that. Dang. Hopefully get some good cash. Streaming is so exhausting after a long day at work. All I want to do is sleep. Yeah, no, exactly. And then I like add a chronic illness on top of it. Holy smokes. I'm just wiped out. Like, forget about having a social life. Like, I'm done. I just want to sleep. But this is nice. Like, it's nice to unwind. And I don't know, something about just like hanging out with you guys. This is really relaxing, and this doesn't stress me out, like not being on the camera. Like, I don't know, it's hard to say, but hard to explain exactly why. Actually, I'm gonna hang on to that wine. I want to give that to Leah. She loves the wine. Oh, Andrew, so are you, friend. Oh, you're so sweet. Thanks for popping in, friend. Got home from work to find piles of laundry. That's the worst. Can laundry fold itself? Yeah, for real. We've had this laundry for so long. You think you'd figure it out by now, right? Ooh, okay, the iridium sprinklers. I haven't seen iridium yet, though. Oh. Oops, I keep doing that. I keep playing the lo-fi by like pressing play in my earbuds. Which one should I go for? Fisher or trapper? Resources required to craft crab pots reduced, or fisher. Probably fisher, right? Like I don't think I'm gonna do a whole lot of like the crab pot stuff. Yeah, good call. Okay, almost another $4,000 day. Okay, I think we're doing good. We are likely going to be able to pay off that section. Yeah, so let's see here. We need to do the 10,000 and the 25. So we need 35,000 total. And we're at 13,000. I think we're doing good. Wait, Squid Fest? What is Squid Fest? Oh, weren't we just talking about this? Like accidentally picking up the decorative lantern. It's funny, I'm watching you play Stardew while I play Animal Crossing at the same time. Multitask. I love that. Honestly, whenever I'm gaming, like I usually have like a streamer up as well, because it's like, I don't know, you're hanging out with a buddy, playing the games together. B, I'm researching the forgotten art of shadow divination. I require an item known as void essence. Bring it to me, and you will be rewarded. Oh, bet. I've got plenty of void essence. Yeah, we're good. Does he like void essence in general? Like, can I just like give him one? What is social life precious? Yeah, that though. That was like a streamer video for background sound. Yeah. Or have you guys seen there's a new game on Steam? It's like a lo-fi game. What is it called? It's called Spirit City Lo-Fi Sessions. I've been having that up while I've been working, and it's so nice. You can like set up like your own like little lo-fi character. You can make it look like you, or you can make yourself look like a demon or something cool, and yeah, just leave it up and you listen to lo-fi. Like I listen to lo-fi already while I'm working, so it's pretty fun. I think it was like $10. Social life, clean house, good sleep, choose to. Yeah, that though. Yes, void essence is one of the wizard's loves. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you, Corb. Okay, so I'll bring an extra. So I'll give him one for the quest, and I'll give him one because be my friend. Oh, I got a duck feather. Oh, this is great. That should sell for some good cash money. Or give it to somebody as a gift. I feel like that's like a bougie gift. Like Elliot would like that or something. I've been giving my bottles of wine split between Elliot and Leah. And they get it. They're my little winos. Yeah, Elliot. I had a feeling. He's so bougie. Oh no, I'm late again. Excuse me. You know the drill. A wizard is never late, nor the early. They arrive precisely when they mean to. Hi, friend.
Oh no, I'm late again.
Hush now. Oh my gosh, everything's deteriorating. Ah! Okay. I gotta fix these fences really quick. Hi Amelia, welcome in. Also, thank you so much for 16 months. Holy smokes, thanks, friend. How's your day going? Also, Ray, do you know this? Because is Elliot, is that your Stardew lover? I gotta know, who does everybody go for? Who's your one true love in Stardew? Nah, Sam is mine. Oh, cute. Okay, I don't know if you saw, but I posted on Twitter earlier. Sam has a new winter appearance for the 1.6 update, and they put him in a beanie, and he's actually so cute. Like, no, like from Super Saiyan to super cute. Hello. Like his hair is so wildly spiky. Like I need to get a mod or something so it doesn't have like the crazy spiky hair all the time. Oh my god, beanie moment. It's so good though. It's so good. I'm a Seb stan. I marry Seb every chance I can get. Okay, that's how my friend Stephanie is. She loves Sebastian. And I have never gone for Sebastian. But I know things about Sebastian just because my wife has told me about her husband, so. Oh, did I fix everything yet? Haley or Emily? Oh, they're both so sweet. Oh my gosh, look at you choosing between the sisters too. Whoa. They're both so sweet though. I adore them. I found one of the secret notes from their parents being like, oh, these are their favorite things. And I thought that was really cute. But yeah, I love them both. Emily has some really, really cute cutscenes. Currently my favorite shadow. My current character shadow is married to Haley. Oh, nice. Currently, you don't have to knock down the broken fence. You can just place the wood on top of it and it'll repair. What? No. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Ray Ray just changed my life. Wait, we're gonna do it right now. We have one post. Hello? She's a wizard! Thank you. Ah, that's so good. That's so good. Pale techie boy with hair oversized. That's my guy. Yup. You know, honestly, yeah, fair. I don't know why I haven't gone for Sebastian. What am I doing? I've wasted so much time with that. I love that. Yup, same. Big same. But this is one of the benefits of hanging out in stream. We learn new things all the time. Like last stream, I learned that if you use your pickaxe on a place that you had used your hoe on, it deletes like the mark, which like it drives me crazy when I accidentally put it in the wrong spot. So that was lovely. Okay, please give me a cabbage. Cabbage? Or an apple? Either? Both? Barnacles. Well, it's okay. We will rebuild. We have time. We do have time. Oh, I could plant beets though. That would be kind of nice. Actually, I think I will. I think I'll grab some beets and go plant them in my greenhouse. Cause like, why not? I feel like I had somebody say, oh, I think beets are one of Evelyn's favorites. Ray Ray, thank you so much. That is so good. Okay, let's go find, here, I can find Leah and give her a wine, and then we can give the duck feather to Elliot. I am playing with mods. The only gameplay mod that I have is one that will pop up next to my currency, and it'll tell me when it's somebody's birthday, because I am so bad at remembering to check the calendar. So that's been very helpful. Otherwise, it's just like all aesthetic stuff. Oh my god! Hey, what up, girlfriend? How you doing? Wait, what the heck? Hold on a second here. I need to fix something. Okay, there we go. Much better. Much better. How are you doing, Felicia? What's happening? When I lived in the city, the year went by so fast. True that, girlfriend. Here, have some wine. That's exactly what I wanted. Thank you. Same, though? Honestly, same, though? Wine not? Where's she at? 3? Girl, I've given you so many salads. Love me. Am I asking for too much? Actually, you know what happened was I wasn't able to give her or Elliot birthday presents because I wasn't good enough friends with them, so I couldn't go into their house on their birthdays. And it was a sunny, or it was a rainy day for Elliot on his birthday, so that sucked. Thank you, I appreciate you. Also, I think Kirby, you also redeemed a hydrate and stretch, and I definitely didn't do either of those things. Let me do that now. I'm gonna pause really quick. Ooh, thank you. I appreciate it. Also, I love that for you. Girl, I'm so proud of you, and your launch was so successful. You crushed it. That's awesome. Wait, what is this? The cold air makes me feel tough, like a piece of jerky. Sorry. I keep doing that. I keep accidentally turning on the lo-fi. What is this? Look at the little squid nice. Ooh, woo. Like, what? Who did that? Hello? Squid chef. Oh, don't mind me. I'm just here for the bulk squid prices. Oh. Welcome to Squid Fest. What can I do for you? It's a squid fishing challenge. If you can hit our daily catch targets, you'll win prizes. Check the sign to the left. We also put special bait in the water so the squid are active all day. What? Did we catch it off the side of the... Okay, let's try it. You want to catch a squid? Are you a squid? Please? You're not a squid. Maybe I need to go out here? Squid Fest? Yeah, this is new. This is got to be part of the 1.6 update. Okay, but that squid sign was very cute. Okay, come on, buddy. Give me a squid. I've been trying to catch a squid, and I haven't had any luck, so hopefully that special squid bait they have in the ocean is going to help with this. I don't believe it. I did not know there was a Squid Fest. Yeah, this is new. This is brand new. Oh, do I have any wood? Yeah, I do. Okay. I'm going to take that and make a chest and set that here and put all of the goodies in here that I don't want to lose. But I just want to fish. There we go. That's my strat. Okay, everybody is fishing really close to the dock. Is that just because... Do I not need to read into that too much? Or should I also take note and try to do that? Oh boy. Come on, pal. Are you a squid? On the second day of the Squid Fest, I got all but one squid 100%. I'm still mad about it. Oh my gosh, that's so frustrating. But I'm so impressed. Look at you getting all the squids. Do it, Jean. Do it. It's on the update is... Oh my gosh. Hello? Can you not? What the heck? Make sure you pick up the chest later. If an NPC walks over it, it will destroy it. Oh, no way. Oh my gosh. Good to know. Thanks, boo. Oh shoot, I have another random chest on the other dock. I should go check that one. Come on, give me a squid. Squid, 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 squiddy, squid, squid. Okay, this is probably a sea cucumber. They're always like at the bottom. Or a herring. Oh no! It was so close. Oh. Are you? Oh my gosh. Please be a squid. Please be a squid. If I'm putting all this effort in, you better be a heckin' squid. Squid, squid, squid. Squiddy, squid. Squid, squid, squid. Let's go, squid. Come on, squid. Let's go, squid. It's probably a tuna, isn't it? Heckin' tunas. Come on, buddy. Are you kidding me? I have to do that like 8 more times? No! Why can't you just be a simple fish? Just a little lad. How many times? How many more fish do I need? Oh my god. 8? 8 squid? What the? I mean, this is fine. This is totally fine. This is absolutely how I wanted to spend my Friday afternoon. In game. Just fishing for squid. Come on, little squid. Come on, little... You're not a squid. This is not squid behavior. You are not Squidward. Heckin' herring. Give you the last piece of bait. Barnacles. Oh, well maybe it's gonna rely on the squid bait now. Squid bait. Ooh ha ha. Are you a squid? I bet this is another herring. Oh my god, what up, Shrek Daddy? How you doing? Hi, friend. Hello, hello. Mel, I'm so anxious about this now. I need to go check my other... Ah! Sorry, I keep turning on the lo-fi. Okay, but does anybody know what you get from the Squid Fest? Like, are the rewards worth it? Do I get like a sick trophy or something? Good, just got off work. Nice, welcome home, my friend. I guess if anything, I'm gonna make some money from selling all the fish, but... Not the blue goo. You get squids, dang it! I should have known. Oh, this has got to be a squid. You feel like a squid. In my heart of hearts, you are a squid. Wow, the squid looks so different these days. Hi, Samandias. Samandias, did you start Plunderstorm yet? Have you, Hi, sorry about that. Oh boy. Alright, come on. Little lad. This is a sea cucumber. Or a herring. Money's on it. This is not a squid. Dang it! Not the herring. I did a couple games. I'm going to work on it more tomorrow probably. Not feeling it at the moment. You know what? I didn't feel it the entire event, but I wanted that glam so badly. Now I gotta be a sick pirate. The only problem I have with it though is like all the hats make you look bald. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. They make you look bald, but at least you get like a cool eye patch, so I can wear that instead with the fit, which is cool. Okay, please be a second squid. If I've been out here all day on the dock and there's been no squids. That's not a squid. That's a herring. Oh, it's a halibut. Oh, look at me just catching for the halibut. Okay, I think I'm gonna pick up some of my goodies. I need to upgrade my bag, you guys. Dang. I never have a clue what I'm doing and I always look up guides to help. I started after you talking about it last stream. Thanks for the double XP. Oh, you're so welcome. Oh, you are so welcome. Are you having fun with it? It's definitely a grind. Get rewards. Oh, I got some bait. Can I get that later though? Cause like oh no. Fine. I'll get rid of the sea cucumber. I'll take the bait. I feel dumb, but I started playing Stardew Valley a couple weeks ago, but I have no clue what I'm supposed to do. Oh, you know, I guess in the very beginning of Stardew, I was like, you're just trying to make some money. You're gonna grow some crops. You're gonna just talk to the townsfolk. You're gonna get a bunch of quests on the side here, the journal quests. I would start by going off of those. Like your first one is gonna have you talk to all of the villagers. And introduce yourself. I'd start there. I go talk to Pierre in the shop and see what crops are available. On the bulletin board right outside the shop, there's quests that you can do there too. I would pick up those. I would just start from there, and then the story kind of starts to unfold. Oh, could I have really? Oh, that's awesome. I didn't realize that. Dang, I learned so much by just like hanging out on stream and playing it. You guys are the best. Thank you. Also, Sammy, do not feel dumb about it at all. There's so many things you can do in this game. Like, I got this game like within like the week that it came out. And I'm still clearly learning things about this game. Okay, I need to go pick up the rest of the stuff at the beach. Gotta go pick up my goodies. Also, I think Willie needed a squid, right? Yeah, okay, so if I can bring Willie the squid that I caught, then that'll be lovely. Oh yeah, Nat, good advice, good advice. Also, Nicole, I'm going to the Stardew concert on Saturday. Oh my god, Riri, I'm so jealous. You're gonna have so much fun. Oh, that's amazing. Oh my gosh, it's sold out so quick here. That's so cool. Yeah, they had one in Portland and in Seattle, and I wish I could have gone. You're gonna have to tell me all about it. Going with all my friends. Cute. Oh, you're gonna have the best time. I'm so excited for you. Yeah, I feel so silly, but like when I play this game, I have started new files probably like several dozen times, and I never make it to the end of year 2. I always just keep restarting it, and I'm like, no, I want to play differently this time, or I want to do a challenge run, and I never stick to it. So this one, guys, this file, I sent it last stream, but I mean it. This is gonna be my completion file. I'm going to do everything in this game. This is the file. Leah, love me. You mean it. I do mean it. I'm working so hard. I'm gonna do the thing. I'm gonna do the heckin' thing. Okay, how do you check like for perfect file? How do you check your completion on it? And when they say like a perfect file, when you achieve perfection in the game, do they mean like these pages are completed? Is that what that is? Oh my gosh. Or is it all of your achievements? Like, what is perfection exactly? Okay, cool. Cool. Perfect. Okay, that wasn't the most lucrative day. But I think we're still doing okay. I think we're probably still on track. Oh god, I need another 20,000. 20,000. Okay, that just means I need 5 $4,000 days. That's fine. I think that's achievable. Okay, I need more fence posts. Ray coming in clutch, fixing my fences, bless. It's probably worth it to upgrade to hardwood fences, isn't it? In high school, I almost exclusively played on a co-op farm with my bestie and did all of the mining while I just... Oh, they did all the mining while I just foraged and farmed. Now it's years later and I can't mine. Oh no! Hey, you got this. I believe in you. There's no better time like the present to learn. Okay, so... Okay, with making fairy rose honey, should I just leave the flowers like this until I get honey? Should I just not collect them? Is that the way to do it? Don't waste your hardwood. You just yet you'll need it later. Okay, cool. Aye, aye, Captain. Oh, it's Saturday. Dang, I wish it was Sunday. I just want to make sure that we're gonna have what we need. You can't do honey inside, it's only outside. No! Dang it! But I've seen people do, like, builds where it looked like they were doing it inside. Well, shucks. They won't make honey in the winter, too. Aw, well, at least I have fairy roses because I can give those to Evelyn. That's one of her favorite things. I think it was for aesthetic purposes. Bummer. People in their Stardew aesthetics, I tell ya. Okay, but actually, it's so pretty. Like, the things that people can do in this game, it's wild. Like, I want to have a very aesthetic farm some point. It's gonna take a while. I feel like that requires having a lot of money to get to that point. To start, like, focusing on making your your farm look pretty. Okay, I need to find more logs. Not those ones, because my axe is only upgraded one time. Okay, well, let's go to the secret woods then. Do you plan to catch legendary fish? I mean, I'm gonna have to, right? If I want to go for perfection. I'm guessing that's part of it. So yes. Or, I mean, if it's an achievement, then I will do it. You guys see me just cheese back here, so I didn't have to pay for the second axe upgrade. I may be a broke bitch, but I'm resourceful. Ooh, should I go to the train? Is that worth it? Or should I just keep doing what I'm doing? You're a bit far. Yeah, it only lasts for a certain amount of time, right? You're doing what you're doing. Cool. Perfect. 'Cause I'm enjoying going back here and getting all the hardwood. Okay, my lo-fi just keeps randomly playing. I'm like, I don't want it to be competing music when we're trying to listen to the Stardew soundtrack, because the Stardew soundtrack is so good. But like, the Totoro music just came on and I have Totoro back here. So I was like, wait, is that part of the mod? Or... wait a second. I need to get rid of something because I don't really have space to plant any, or like space to put my inventory. Sam's holiday shopping list. Cute. Oh, this is great. Vincent, grapes, cranberry candy, crispy bass pancakes, risotto, roasted hazelnuts, cactus, maple bar pizza. Cute. Cute. It's a ghost. It might be. I feel like this is gonna take a long time to get to that 100 pieces of hardwood. Oh, another note? That's great. Well, on that note. Okay, what can I throw away? We can get rid of the torch. We can get rid of the slime. Mom, no beer. Oh, Jazzlink's fairy roses too. Cute. Where'd you get that overlay for the chat with the icons? Oh, it's a creator named Zaytree. Here, let me find the link for you. On their Ko-fi, they have a link to it, and you can buy it. It was like 30 bucks, but I think it's worth every penny. They did such a good job. And if you want, you can change your villager. It's one currency. Oh, oops, I can grab that one now. Yeah, good call, Mel. But you can change it to whatever villager you'd like next to your name. Oh, I'm so glad you guys like it. It's too cute. I saw it and I was like, oh my god. Oh my, we have to have it. The beehive requires this. Okay. What am I doing? I need to give this to the wizard, and the duck feather to Sebastian, and the squid to Willy. Oh my god, all the boys getting their gifts today? Goodness. Stitch is cute. I love the music here. It's so good. Ooh, 1,000 gold? Thanks, homie. Ah, this is imbued with potent arcane energies. It's very useful for my studies. Thank you. No, thank you for the cash money. Much appreciated. Do, 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 do. His music is so catchy. Also, I have so many of those. I should really get in the habit of coming down here and giving him gifts, you know, twice a week. Because my friendship with him is not very high, I don't think. Let's see. Oh, maybe. Well, it's a it's a 1-star. Could be worse. Not much, but it could be worse. All right, let's go find Elliot. Wait, maybe we should stop by and say hi to Leah first, though. Those berry bushes are so deceptive. Like, I keep thinking they're ones that we can pick, but they're not ones that you can pick in the winter. A bummer. Okay, if I see her in the bar later, I will buy her a salad. Oh, look at her. She's so cute. Do you know how to cook bean hot pot? I like that dish quite a bit. I don't think we have that dish yet. Calamari, pancakes, hash browns, yams, pizza, pepper poppers. Wait, do I have the pizza recipe? Wheat flour, tomato, and cheese. Oh. Probably make that a lot easier than buying it. It's so much more expensive buying it in the shop, but it's so convenient. That's the thing. That's the thing. Moss soup. That just sounds so yummy. Yeah. Okay, so I know you get recipes from like befriending people and by watching TV, but do you get more recipes by making the recipes? Because that would be sick. Ooh, Jack be nimble, Jack be thick. Ayo. Hello. Gotta be friendship 5 or 7 with Clint for bean hot pot. Oh. Ayo, Jack be thick. That's me. I guess I. Wait, where are you, Elliot? I'm trying to give you a feather. Hello. Ice climbers? What are you guys doing here? Oh my lord. Yeah, my son, it's you. Girl, I was waiting. I knew you would be here. Oh, there he is. I wasn't expecting anyone to enter. Wow. Buddy, you better be prepared. This is a beautiful quill. I feel inspired already. Yeah, okay. Well, you did it. Not bad. Not bad at all. I'm impressed. Damn, boy. He's thick, boy. Oh my gosh, that's a sound effect that we need on stream. Kirby, will you write that in mod chat? Because I'm gonna add that sound effect to stream. Sure! You angel, my goodness! Oh my goodness, Felicia, my girl, welcome back into the beehive. I hope you are having a beautiful evening. Enjoy all of your bee motes. Okay, listen. Was that a good use of my money? We're not gonna talk about it. Do I want the blue chickens? Absolutely. Am I gonna marry Shane this playthrough? No. I'm trying to seduce Haley. But like, blue chickens. You feel me? Yeah, feel me? Okay. Did I give all the things to all the people? I did. We're crushing it. Stardew and they're taking the hobbits to Isengard. I am home. Cold pigeon. It makes me so happy. I'm so stoked that you've been hanging out. You are a wealth of knowledge, and it's really appreciated. It's so nice. It's so fun to like play with folks who are also really into the game, and like we're all learning new things and hanging out. It's great. Oh my goodness, Kate! Better Kate than never. Stop. Your raid message is everything. Oh my goodness. Hello, better rat than never. Hello, Mew. Hi, everybody. Welcome on in. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for the raid and bringing your friends over here to hang out with us. My name is ConcernedApe. It's nice to meet you. I am a variety streamer. If you like puns and positivity, you're in the right place. Oh, you guys are the bee's knees. Hi, guys. We are currently in our first year of Stardew. We're in winter right now. We're so close to finishing the community center. We just need to finish up our vault bundles and find 2 more apples. I have 1 of the 3, and then find a red cabbage. So yeah, that's what we're working on right now. It's also the Squid Fest. We didn't do too great, but yeah, we're really enjoying it. It's been a lot of fun. How was your stream, Kate? How did it go? What were you guys playing? Let me give the biggest shout out to Kate real quick. There we go. You're also playing Stardew. Oh, heck yeah. Love that. What were you working on? Tell me all about it. Tickled, my Lord of the Rings nerd. And I haven't been able to play the update yet, waiting for it to come out on console. I can't wait. That's going to be so nice. Have we been playing the new Stardew update? Loving it so far. It's so good. Did you start a new file, or are you playing on a town that you've been working on for a while? Oh, finally, I got the recipe for chocolate cake. Heck yes. Our girl Evelyn loves some chocolate cake. Actually, speaking of that, I think I'm gonna go give her a chocolate cake. Also, I haven't put the maki roll in the community center yet. Yeah, I should do that. I should do that. Aw, I'm so glad that you are having a good stream, though. The update is too good. I'm having so much fun with it. I know you're busy on the farm, and that's why you can't visit. I understand. You've been working so hard. Keep it up, and you can accomplish anything. Oh, thanks for the stone, Dad. You rock. Be like and have a lovely stream. Aw, thank you. Thanks for bringing your community over. So nice to see you. Starting tomorrow, a traveling merchant fleet will dock at Pelican Town for the nightly. Oh, the early night market. Oh, this is great for 3 days. We have 3 days in a row to get our cabbage. Our cabbages. Oh my god. Chomps. Thanks, Chomps. Oh my gosh, I appreciate you. Thanks for the follow. Chomps, okay, is there an origin story? How did this username come to be? I gotta know. I'm curious. Also, if you enjoyed that pun, you're in the right spot. Oh god, my inventory's full. Not like this. 3 days, you better get that money up then. I got 15 grand, homie. I have 15K. We're sitting pretty. We're doing good. We're Gucci. We're grand, even. Oh, and to answer your recipe questions, you get them 3 ways: villagers, levels, queen of sauce, and buying from Gus in the saloon. Oh, okay. I did know all of those ways, and I have bought all of the recipes currently available from Gus. And I haven't missed an episode of Queen of Sauce. So, oh my gosh, I'm just trying to put away everything. My inventory's so messy. I have so many maple syrups, goodness. Okay, oh, the beet seeds. That's right, I wanted to go plant those. Oh, whose birthday is it? Oh, it's Harvey. Gonna go get that man a cup of joe. Okay, but really, I don't really need to be fixing the fences right now in the winter, right? Because like my animals are not going to be leaving the barn, so I'm probably fine just to. What do you mean? Why are you upset? Why are you being all grumpy gills? You didn't get your foods? Oh shoot! I'm the worst chicken mama. My bad. Please be fed. Be merry. Be merry and Pippin. All of my farm animals, by the way, are named after Lord of the Rings characters. You'll have that money in no time. Thanks, Dream. Thanks for believing in me. There's kind of a story. It's about this spin on a silly nickname in high school, and I also love Super Mario Sunshine speedruns a lot when I made the name. And one of the levels of Sunshine has a bunch of chomp chains who got loose. Oh, I love that. That's so good. Sunshine is such a good game. I love that game. When the GameCube came out, I had surgery and I was real sick and in recovery, and my parents got us a GameCube. So when I was recovering from surgery, I just like laid on the couch and played so much Sunshine. So I have good memories of me being very cozy with Sunshine. It was healing. I'm currently building a Lego Lord of the Rings set, and I just built Merry and Pippin. What? Is it the Rivendell set? Okay, like I'm not a Lego girly, but like that Lego set makes me want to be a Lego girly really bad. It's so pretty. Oh my gosh. And they need a heater. Do they need a heater? Oh, is that why they're mad at me? It is the Rivendell set. It's amazing. Oh my god, I need it. I need it. Not a want, but a need. One day I will acquire it. It looks incredible. Goodness, it's so pretty. All the little texture stickers and stuff on there are just so good. I have watched so many people build it. And they need a heater. Oh, barnacles. Okay. I will acquire them a heater. I need to... I'm so scatterbrained. When I'm playing this, like, there's like that additional level of, like, I'm talking to chat. So I gotta focus on that, but then keep track of all the other things that I'm doing. Oh... It's a little extra challenging, but it's fun. It's very fun. Okay, fixing this. Oh my god, Ray. Thank you. Bless. Every time I fix a fence, I'm gonna think of Ray. At one time, she saved my life. Beautiful. Holy smokes, this fence was obliterated. The babies are cold. Is that why they're mad? Wait, do I need a heater in both the chicken coop and with my cows, or just the cows? Thanks, Boo. Appreciate you. Heater in both. Yes. Oh god. Okay. In both. Okay, goodness. I will go do that right now. Oh my god, I'm gonna be so broke! Oh! But I'll do it for my babies. Oh, look at Jess. Hi, Jess. Look at your little hat. Shane's gone a lot and Uncle Marnie is busy all the time, so I have to invent my own games. Thankful for all my toys. I was once playing with a friend and I accidentally held shift and bought 20 heaters. Holy smokes. Girlfriend. Okay, here we go. Come on. Give me the red cabbage. Red cabbage. Red cabbage. Red tuna. Red rug. No, red cabbage. Barnacles. Well, that ain't it. Do we get the coffee bean? Is it worth it? Do I make some coffee? Is that... No, I don't need that. Or do I? You can make a lot of money off of coffee beans, can't you? Plant in the summer and spring to grow a coffee plant, and then I get the beans, then I make a lot of the beans, and then I make coffee, and then I make cash money? Is that the strat? 2,500. I'll think about it. Right now I gotta buy some heaters for my starving pets. So cold, so chilly. I can't believe that we did not get our cabbage. That's fine, we will rebuild. Oh, you know what we should do? We should go check my fruit cave and see if we have more apples. 2 more apples we need. Just two measly little apples. A lot of people like using coffee for skull cavern runs. Oh. Just because they're like wired gives you a lot of energy. Apples? We got another apple! Oh my goodness. I have hope. Ooh, and another pomegranate. Oh, this is great. Okay, there's 2 out of the 3. Okay. Is Stardew available on the Switch? It is. The new update 1.6 that just came out is not available on the Switch yet, but it has been mentioned that he is working on it, so it should be out soon-ish. But you can still play base game Stardew on the Switch, and it's great. I've played it quite a bit. Okay, and I think my other apple is there. 2 out of 3. Oh, we're so close. Oh goodness. If it isn't my favorite hottie without a body, it's me. I've got no body. I am but a wee little PNG. Hi, friend. It's good to see you. How you doing? I tell you, it's so nice and cozy. Just vibing as like a little picture. I love you too. Oh my god, you ready? Do I put it anywhere? It's fine. I'm in my trombone. Okay, I have been seeing that you've been playing that, and it's cracking me up. Please tell me you've modded it, because modded trombone champ is everything. Please, if you haven't seen it already, please go look up the Sephiroth theme played on trombone champ. When I'm having a bad day, I will watch that, and it makes me laugh uncontrollably. It's so funny. Bells, frogs, big cherries, Peter Pan, magic cheese, Sephiroth. Is it easier to play Stardew on the Switch or on a computer? You know, so on the computer you can mod it. It has benefits. I would say that they're both pretty easy to play. Either console is just fine. You can't mod it on the Switch though. Oh, whoops! I didn't mean to do that. You can't mod it on the Switch, unfortunately. It's really whatever one you start with and play. I feel like feels pretty easy. You'll get the hang of it. They're both great though. You can't go wrong. A customer left a bad review and she ended it with like, it looked like they were having an afternoon date. Bro, that was my coworker. Oh no, awkward. I've seen the mods, but I'm trying to get all the base achievements before I mod it. I'm trying to get a couple high scores, then I'll have modded song, high score, global scores enabled. Oh, yeah, I feel you on that. That's how it is with Beat Saber for me. Like, I really liked the, oh, I like to put jade on my great-grandfather's tombstone. Please deliver it sometime today. Oh, yeah. I actually have jade. I can do that. Yeah, you can't, once you mod it, you can't do the achievements, or like the achievements and like the high scores and like playing against other folk, which is a bummer. Harvey, my daddy Harvey, excuse me? Hello? You're a Dr. Harvey stan? My goodness. I've learned so much. Okay, where is it? I put a jade somewhere. Jade. Where are you? Am I blind? Like, I mean, yes. I do wear corrective lenses. But like, oh, there it is. I knew I had one. Okay, but it's Sunday. I don't know his schedule. I'm gonna look it up really quick. Unless, girl, do you know your husband's schedule? You wanted to tell me? Okay, winter on Sundays. Regular schedule. He's gonna go to the Stardew Saloon at 5:50. Perfect. I'm gonna go buy him a coffee. Cause it's his birthday. Unless he has like an extra weird schedule on a 14th. No, he has a weird schedule on the 15th. Oh, it's because he goes to the night market. Okay. Because I said no, I'm not checking in 15 minutes before my shift, and my other coworker yelled at me across the clock to clock. Oh my goodness, that's frustrating. You need. Listen, that's not your shift, so I get it. Okay, I'm gonna grab coffee. Okay, and then he shows up at the saloon at 5:30. He heads to the Stardew Saloon, so he should be here soonish. Oh, Sam. He likes soda, yeah? Let's give him a cola. Thank you so much for being a cheap date, Sam. Appreciate that. Leah over here with her fancy salads. I can't remember if I've given her 2 gifts already this week, but okay, sweet. Pam also likes, oh, look, it's the man of the hour. Hate to say this, but I make a lot more money during flu season. Corrupt! Corrupt! I see you. Hello, B. Is that the Jade I requested? Thanks so much. Here's your payment as promised. Okay, and then give him a coffee for his birthday. I didn't expect anyone to know it's my birthday today. Nice. So, what do we got his hearts up to now? He's a 4. Nice. I know, Big Pharma got him. Dang it. We thought he was one of the good ones. Can't believe Harvey betrayed us for the big flu. How dare he? Honestly, disgusting. Do you make time for cleaning? He is judging so hard. Also, guys, like Marnie, her like winter outfit, she is so cute. I love her. She's so cute. Like, look at her. Look at her. Thank you. That is all. That's my PSA. Marnie's cute. I mean, like, she's never at the counter and I can like never buy things from her, but she's still cute and I adore her. Have you redeemed the prize tickets yet? Well, that would require I have earned some. And I did one time. This is my second one, so we can go do that now. Awkward. Boom, got it. Oh, is it an apricot tree? Oh, an orange sapling. Oh, that's nice. Whoa, what is that? A glowing purple. I have such a grudge against Marnie. Dude, she's never there when you need her. But, like, also, good for her. Who wants to work, honestly? We just need Big Pharma to beat Big Pharma. Amen. Amen. I'm pinning that message. That's the one. That's the mood. That's how... Down with Big Pharma. Up with Big Pharma. No, for real. I was literally in the middle of doing something. I wasn't... Yes, I would have. But yeah, I mean, like, if you were, you know... Yeah, I get it. I understand your frustration. I'm sorry. I hope that your manager like doesn't take that review seriously. No, Chomps, the honor is all mine. Oh, money from Harvey. Broski, I paid the day you asked for it and gave you a birthday present, and you're the doctor bragging about how much cash money you make from flu season, and you gave me 600 for Jane? Harvey, we gotta talk. Also, okay, the fact that here, I'm pausing real quick. You can marry Harvey and you can pass out in the mine and you still get robbed. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about that? If you like wake up and you have to go to the hospital and you like what the hello? I'm sorry, my husband is robbing me? Disgusting. Disgusting. I mean, like, it's also pretty funny, but like money is money. No, Alp, not you too. No, not capitalism. Look, he gets like no business. What are you talking about? I think one of the kids goes and sees him like once. You know? My manager is my mom, but the night manager talked to me already because I brought it up before we got the review. Oh, okay, okay. Well, at least you're on top of it, you know? Okay, Mel. Are you still here? I need to pick your brain for a moment. Because you said I could do something fancy with the trees, right? I don't... Oh, look at this. Crops on crops. He knows you're balling as a farmer. And like, is that my fault? Okay, so I can plant them here. And do I stagger them like every other, or do I need more space? Is this what you're saying? I could like, could I plant this orange tree? Oh, I could not plant it there. I do need more space for it. But I could plant it here? It says I can. Will it be fine? But I can't plant it here. Why? Why can't I plant it there? Do it on the white tile. Like right... Oh, on the what? Hello? What? Like in the corner? Close to the here? It will grow. I could plant it right there. You're telling me. Wait, could I plant something right next to it here though? Like, could I put 2 trees back to back? gotta know. I'm gonna pause so the time doesn't keep running. Yep, I could put 2 trees next to each other. What it just had? Oh no. Okay, but it has its own little plot of land. What is happening? That is so weird. Like, I love it, but what? The spacing still applies. Boo! Well, that's fine. Oh, I'm about to make some money with my cranberries. And double cranberries up there too. Oh, this is gonna be great. I just wish I wouldn't have planted these so weird. Oh, I can move this one now, at least. Well, that's good. Wait, where's my... Oh, did I not have enough space? Inventory's full. Wait, where did it go? Hello? Oh, it just moved. Oh, I was so scared. I was like, did it just evaporate? Like, what is happening? This is bothering me. It needs to be right there. I also need to go get some more trees. Or some plants. I think I have some seeds set aside somewhere. I don't have the seed maker yet, though. That would be really nice. Okay. Let's see. Spacing still applies. Okay. Okay. Couple of bee homes. Put those away. Powder melon seeds. Oh, I could have planted those. Oh, and the beet seed. Okay, let's see what other seeds we have too. Might as well. If we have seeds, we can plant them and do stuff with them now. Amaranth seed. Sure. Sure. Cauliflower. Sweet and sour. Half an hour. VeggieTales. Oh, wait. I could... How about broccoli? Broccoli sounds great. I don't know which is the more lucrative option. Sure. Let's grab those. More fences? Are you kidding me? Also, you should befriend Caroline. Caroline? What did she give me? What goods does she bestow upon me? She seems very sweet. She's somebody I've never, like, put the effort into befriending. I gave her a birthday present. That's it. Nice. Crops on crops on crops. Lima beans, collard greens, peachy keen, VeggieTales. I thought you were answering the question about what Caroline gives you, and then I realized the lyrics. The old veggies of tales. What? The old, the tales of old. What a bop. Honestly, they made the Jesus vegetables so catchy. Aowen looks fine. Okay. Faramir looks fine. It's gonna be really funny when Faramir's the one who's prego. It's fine. Get it, Owen. Ah! Get out of here. Oh, so today is the first day of the festival, right? Late night markets. I need to chop down all this wood so I can make more fences to fix them again. Ugh. Ooh, a mystery box. Nice. I'll have to have Clint go open that. I want to go check the fruit cave again. I would be so excited if we just had that last bit done. I am a wee bit worried about not making enough cash money though, to finish off of our bundles because we have 13 more days. I mean, I guess I will have several more crops of the cranberries, but yeah, no, but like, it's so catchy. Also, like, who doesn't love an anthropomorphic vegetable, right? Like, you don't have to be religious to be like, yeah, Bob, I get it. Larry the cucumber? Hilarious. Like, what? Alright, alright. Let's see. Gotta go into the cave. I really should actually go upgrade some of my tools. Hey, you're not an apple? The heck? Well then. I don't want to sell my fairy flowers, but like they're gonna make me cash, so like maybe I should, you know? No, I think they make better gifts than selling them. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go give them as gifts to the ladies. Ladies love them. 703. Oh shoot, I needed some of those. What a bop! Silly songs with Larry now too? Char, you're so cultured. Oh, everybody's got a water buffalo. Yours is fast, but mine is slow. Where'd you get yours? I don't know. Everybody's got a water buffalo. Why? Just keep the gold star ones for gifts. Oh, Mel's got the strat. But how many do I have? I only have one? No! I shan't. I have more ladies than gold stars. You're welcome. Bless you. Ah! Okay, I gotta give one to Evelyn. I gotta give one to Joss. And I think Haley likes them too. I know she really likes the sunflowers. I do have pink cake though I could give her. And I have a chocolate cake I could give to Evelyn. Oh goodness. Yeah, let's, you know, this is gonna be treat the ladies day. Where's my pink cake? Maybe I put it in the fridge. Honestly, keeping them in these chests outside, basically a fridge. I can't imagine there's much insulation, you know? Ya feel me? Pink cake, where you at? What? Where's my pink cake? Hello? Was it here? Oh, whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Take that. Well, you have a chocolate cake. Everybody's got a baby kangaroo. Yours is pink, but mine is blue. Classic. Bless you guys. Sorry if I posted a message 2 times on my end and didn't look there sending. Oh, you're fine, Ash. Don't worry about it. You are totally fine. Sorry if I missed your message. I'm so frustrated for you at work. That's so stressful. Like, I'm glad you're able to explain to your manager, though, and, like, or, like, your acting manager, anyways. Wait, which one is this one? I've already read it. Reading this book again will grant some combat experience. Oh, nice. Ooh, great. And leveled up, baby. What do you want? Need cave carrot to enjoy after a hard day's work. Sure. Sure. Why does it sound like he wanted one like he wants a beer, you know? Gotta unwind with a nice cave carrot. Okay, George, I want you to take a deep breath for me. Oh, look at Georgie. So cute. The fit is so cute. Oh my god, Margie! Hi, friend. It's good to see you. Thanks, homie. Appreciate it. I know what's best for me. Who do you think you are telling me how to live my life? Yeah, that's right, George. Down with Big Pharma. Tell him. I'm your doctor, George. That's who I am. And I went to school for 8 years so I can learn how to help people stay healthy. Okay, fair enough. Harvey has some street cred. Oh, I'm sorry, but you shouldn't be here. These checkups are supposed to be private. Yeah, B, what are you doing? Not so fast. I'd like to get a second opinion from this young lady. Very well. B, what do you think George should do? Follow Dr. Harvey's advice. Come on, old man. He's just trying to help you. Fine, I'll do what you say, Doc. Okay, George's eyes, they look like you're like looking right into your soul. You see what I mean? Like, hello, sir? Where's Evelyn? I have presents! Oh, whoa. Evelyn! Where is that little cutie? Oh, there she is! Hi! Be careful you don't slip on the ice, dear. Here, I got you a cake. Oh, this is absolutely marvelous. You've made an old lady very happy. Oh, she's so cute. I think she's my favorite. She's so sweet. You're a cute old lady. Ooh, do you think Maru would like a flower? Would you like a fairy rose? This is a super gift. Thank you. Nice. Crushed it. I know what girls like. Girls like. Okay, we're going to the beach. It's okay, my mom replied to the review saying sorry, but she can't force us to clock on before our shift time. There we go. Good job, Mom. Good job, Mom. It's true. Yeah, like, you're paid for the hours that are set in your schedule. Like, sorry, they could wait a few minutes. I think this boat's my favorite. It's so unique. Can I give her a flower? Can I give you a flower? Hello? Thank you. I'm feeling positive energy from this gift. Good. So mysterious. I love it. Can you smell that? The air is so spicy here. Oh. I love the music here. It's so good. Okay, here we go, guys. We need a cabbage. Red cabbage. Red cabbage? Red cabbage. Not red plate, red cabbage. Eel. No. Red cab. The Muzzamaru. Oh. Close, but dang it, no red cabbage. Red cabbage or just an apple. We just need those two things. We're so close. Octorock! Oh my goodness. Hello, my friend. It's so good to see you. Thank you so much for the raid. Everybody coming in from Octorock stream. Hi, everybody. It's so good to see ya. Can we get a big old shout out for our friend Octorock? Raid for day 2088 days in a row. I'm still at Hi Buddy Hugs. I'm playing a new game. It's like Animal Crossing mixed with Stardew, but you're your own cute pixel paper cat and you can place it anywhere. It's called Snacko. Oh, I've seen some ads for that. It looks super, super cute. Oh, did you enjoy it? Oh my gosh, guys, if you're not following my friend Octorock, please go give them lots of love. They're awesome. They're one of my favorite streamers. Like, every stream there is just so cozy and they're so dedicated to their craft. It's awesome. Friend, thank you so much for the raid. It's really good to see you. I hope things have been well. Oh my gosh, you guys want to go see a saucy mermaid show? Oh, well. Mermaids and fairies? Hello? It's like, it was made for me. I'm taking a screenshot. I'm taking a screenshot because I hope it didn't pause it for you guys, but I needed this. She's so cute. Look at her. Oh. Okay, when I grow up, I just want to be a mermaid. Whoa. Correction. I want to be this mermaid. She's living her best life. Oh my gosh, Ash, that's great. She's my idol. Honestly, look at her. I love her. Oh my god, it's all the mermaids. So cute. Oh my goodness. That was the best thing that I've seen all night. Look at that. Mermaids and fairies together. ConcernedApe. Thank you. Thank you. He made that for me. What is this? Ooh. My own gravestone? Did you find the note for the mermaid show? No? There's a note? No, I have not found that one yet. You just find the notes randomly, right? They're not like in set places. They just like, you find them doing things. Like, I found some like holiday gifts with people's favorite things so far. And I found this one, which I'm assuming is on a different island because like I tried to go to a cliff face like this and I didn't see one. That looks like a palm tree. Yeah, it's random. Dang, you can find them digging up stuff. Okay, I found a few, but I haven't yet. Oh, you don't even need the note. You can figure it out by yourself if you're clever. Oh no, pressure's on, man. Whew. Wait, parsnips, cauliflower seeds. Wait, you can just buy seeds and stuff here? Oh, this is great. I wish I could buy blueberry and strawberry seeds though. That would have been nice. That's a challenge. Wait, do I have to like click on something? Do I have to like click on the shells or something? Hello? Hello? I'm clicking everywhere. I'll figure it out. Doesn't seem like the clicking is clicking. Hello? Mermaid? Playing Stardew every Saturday night with my mod team. I think you have to watch the whole thing again. The whole thing again? Do I have to click on things? I'm clicking. Can I water? I can. I'm watering the mermaids. I have wanted games where I could be a mermaid. Yeah, right? Okay, Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts, when you do the Atlantica level and you get to be Mermaid Sora. The best. Okay, I just clicked on everything. And no luck. It's fine. I'll just wait for the thing. Was able to get to Skull Cavern 130 last time they played it. Dang, Octorok, you have been crushing it. That's great. I've never done the Skull Cavern, but I will get to there. Click. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. I will get the note and then we'll get there eventually. You smell that? Yeah, I suppose I can smell something. Oh, this is cute. Well, maybe I'll get the clue next time. Like, I mean, she's gonna be here for 3 days, right? Cup of coffee? Sure. A free cup of Joe? Oh, nice. Thank you. What is this? It's locked. I just missed it. Oh, man. I got hustled by the mermaid. Wait, what is this? Can send you home for 250? No, it's fine. I can walk. I need my cardio. Plus, like, I can scour the beach and see if there's anything. Oh, after you've truly unplugged from the modern way of life, you'll really start to enjoy the simple things. Like the sun, a ripe fruit, or finding a stick with the exact shape you were looking for. Aw, what about a cup of Joe? It's a great gift. Thank you. No problem, Linus. Linus is so sweet. He's one of my favorite characters. It's getting late. Oh, no. I'm fine. I can walk back. He is a fellow stick enjoyer. True that. He gets it. Wait, journal, Pierre. Okay, cave carrot. I got a new foster kitten I have to go feed, so I have to drop a picture of him in Discord. Wrap my end sometime, buddy. I got a new background, even more plushies. Oh my gosh! It's been too long. I really need to catch a stream. Yeah, please, please, please post a picture of your kitty. What's your foster's kitty's name? That's so cool that you're fostering cats. I love that. Have you had any foster fails yet? But yeah, if you're gonna get going, go relax. I know you just had a long stream. Thank you again for bringing your community over. Really appreciate it. Oh goodness, all attacks deal 10% more damage. Critical strike increased by 50%. Oh, I mean, probably fighter, just like a little bit of damage here and there, but it's all gonna add up. Yeah, whatever. It's not like I'm gonna do like a whole lot of that anyways. I have a foster fail. So do we. We have a cat named Kevin. He's great. Love Kevin. He's definitely a foster fail though. Okay, this is pretty funny though. So you guys have seen the movie Up, right? And there's that really big bird. And they're like, oh, Kevin's a girl? Well, we had a cat. Name's Lila. We took him to the vet. And the vet was like, so Lila's a boy. And we're like, oh my god, it's Kevin. So it was like a reverse Kevin situation. But that's how we have Kevin. And he's a delight. He's such a funny cat. You know what, my friends? I just realized what time it is. I actually have to end stream. But I will be back again tomorrow night. At 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we're gonna do the same thing. Stream from tomorrow around 6 to like 8:39-ish tomorrow. But again, if you guys are a part of it, I'd love for you to be a part of the Discord. You'll see when I go live there, and I post my schedule and such in there. If you want to follow any of the socials, I've been pretty active on Twitter, even though it's kind of a dying platform. I'm posting some dank memes on there. If you want to follow and hang out there, please do. But guys, thanks for such a fun stream. I had a very good time hanging out with you. And I'll be back tomorrow so we can play some more Stardew and hopefully get our heckin' cabbage. I know we had like the guessing going. I'm so sorry. We did not get the cabbage today, but we'll get it tomorrow. We will rebuild. I never fail. I hate when people say the fail. You find them their home. It was just my home. That's what matters. The first 3 leggy kittens stayed with me, and oh, that's great. Yeah, you're right. It's not a fail. It's not a fail at all. It's just, you know, it's kind of silly. You know, you sought out to get them a different home, but they stayed with you. But you're right. It is, you found them a good home. That's awesome. The best home. Excuse me, Tyler. Hello. Hi, friend. Aw, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Are you guys trying to go on like a little raid? Go bring the crew over to another channel? Aw, thank you, Dream, for hanging out. Everybody, thank you so much for kicking it with me. Let me see who's streaming right now. We can go bring over the love to them. I'm sure we've got a homie playing right now. Something. Let me see. Who is hanging out today? What have we got going on? Oh, I know who we're gonna raid. Yeah, I never understood the term. Sounds negative. Yeah, definitely not negative though. It is so cool when, you know, they end up staying with you. That's cute. You just found them their home, and yeah, I love that. Ooh, okay, I know who we're gonna raid. Raid or not. Let me make sure that they're actually gonna be streaming for a little bit longer. Or that we're not raiding into the end of their stream, you know? Okay, cool. They are still doing their thing. Okay, guys, we are going... Rayleigh's ignoring you? Oh, no. She's just playing hard to get. Okay, you've got this. Okay, friends, we're gonna go raid our friend Bishi. Bishi is playing like a dragon. They're awesome. We love Bishi. Bishi is non-binary, and they are such a baddie. Please give them all the love. Oh my gosh, thank you for dropping the raid message. I appreciate you, Curb. Guys, thank you so much, everybody who hung out, and thank you so much to our mods, Kirby and Alp, and oh my goodness, I dropped my headphones, and Leah. Thanks for stopping in, you guys, and helping out so much. It was great seeing everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me as we tried to get our red cabbage. But we'll get it tomorrow, okay? Alright, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Have a good night. Get some sleep. Or don't. I'm not the boss of you. Alright, bye, friends.